This week, I left Saigon and headed to Vietnam's central highlands. A friend invited me to his housewarming party in Dak Nong. Over the next few days, I picked fruit straight from the trees, met some incredibly welcoming neighbors, and experienced a side of Vietnam that many travelers never get to see. Let's start from the beginning. As we left the city behind, the roads became quieter. The houses grew farther apart. Before long, we found ourselves surrounded by farms. Dak Nong isn't one of Vietnam's best-known tourist destinations. This is my friend's house. It's a very typical countryside home in Vietnam, with a large front yard and a backyard full of fruit trees. One thing I noticed almost immediately: durian trees were everywhere. 8 a.m. The air was still cool. After breakfast, I decided to explore the garden behind the house. I had only walked a few steps before I found myself surrounded by all kinds of fruit trees. Durian, avocados, mangosteens, jackfruit. Oh, there's a fallen mangosteen. I'm going to open it and give it a try. It starts with a gentle tang, then leaves behind a light floral sweetness. It almost melts in your mouth. Maybe it's just me, but fruit always tastes better when you eat it right where it grows. Now we're heading to a local veterinary clinic to pick up a friend named Gon. Judging by the look on the vet's face, I'd say she's had a pretty long day with him. You can probably tell, he's a very friendly guy. This was actually my first time meeting him, and he greeted me like we'd known each other for years.
Sao gặp ai nó cũng mừng. Lỡ gặp một exciter nào.
Looking at how comfortably he's sitting in the car, I'm pretty sure this isn't his first road trip. I thought he'd just sit there quietly. I was wrong, so very wrong. If I had to spend an entire day keeping up with this guy, I think I'd be completely exhausted. Now we're heading over to one of my friend's neighbor's houses. She invited us to visit her garden. In rural Vietnam, neighbors are often very close to one another, and today, one of them welcomed us into her home. Dogs are part of almost every household in the countryside. A small flock of chickens is often enough to keep a family supplied with fresh eggs. I told her this was my dream, a small house on a hillside. She laughed, then joked that she should marry her daughter to me. That was probably the most unexpected offer I got all day.
Hello.
This is exactly the kind of garden I love.
Hả? Bỏ túi mày đó, mày bỏ túi mày đó.
Unlike commercial farms, backyard gardens usually have all kinds of different fruit trees growing together.
Cái này già nè.
Đã chưa?
Rồi, chặt luôn đi. Chặt uống luôn. Chặt uống tại chỗ luôn.
Đem vào đây, đem vào đây.
Kỹ thuật chặt dừa của mình.
Coi dừa. Coi ngay hãng vậy.
Không sao. Rồi ok vậy đó. Trời ơi.
Quá trời nước luôn.
I've lost count of how many fresh coconuts I've had in my life, but drinking one right under the tree still feels different. Maybe that's why I've never enjoyed coconut water in the city quite as much as I do here. And here it is, the king of fruits, durian. A lot of people have eaten durian before, but not many have stood underneath a tree like this. Have you ever wondered, what if one of those ripe durians falls on your head? My friend told me that most ripe durians fall at night, when the air is cooler and the evening breeze picks up. That definitely made me feel a little better.
Uống nữa em. Đừng quá uống này là ướt cái mặt đằng sau luôn.
Nó sâu không à? Cái này uổng ghê, sâu không à? Dạ.
Living here, you'd probably never run out of fruit. The only problem might be trying to finish it all.
kia mới ngọt cái khác kìa, qua kia
À.
hái. Đây. Ok.
Chặt đi Phan. Chặt đi
Chặt ok, đâu đây?
Chặt cái đứt nha này. Ở đầu đứt.
Đấy, đó mới ngọt. Chặt kia nghiêng cho nó chạy nghiêng dư đó. Trời ơi. Nghiêng đi, nghiêng quay qua kia. Nghiêng nó đã có lỗ phát rồi, nó không sợ mọi người.
Sầu riêng nè.
Just look at the size of these durians. They're huge.
Mọi người ơi.
Trái cái này bự ha.
Nhưng mà sầu riêng này nó bị
Once a durian goes bad like this, it usually can't be sold anymore.
Quay mấy cái cảnh nhỏ, mấy cái cảnh phụ dưới đất rồi các thứ.
thì mày đi tao quyết quay.
Chickens are still one of the most common farm animals you'll see around here.
Dương muối nhỉ?
Ở chỗ liền cây xăng mà đang bày bán chôm chôm ở nhà nó chắc.
Coffee is grown almost everywhere in this region. It's amazing to think that beans from quiet places like this end up in cafes all over the world.
Ủa mấy cái này làm sao biết nó già trời?
Avocado trees are everywhere too. My friend told me this older variety has become much less popular over the years. A newer variety has gradually taken its place.
Bên này là bơ bút. Lên chùm lên quay lên chùm rồi Phan.
Mà là chai nha. Đắng là chai sao quắc à?
Thì đi đứng ngược lại. Long.
Hái đi, cho hái.
Không nè.
Rồi, nhìn luôn.
Quá nó hái tức thì chứ.
Most people have probably seen white dragon fruit before, but this one has bright red flesh inside. Outside of Asia, it's usually much harder to find and often more expensive.
Đúng rồi.
Tới.
Bẻ giùm đi.
After eating and spending some time in the garden, we said goodbye and continued exploring the area. Everything felt so peaceful here. Just green hills, trees, and the sound of insects all around us. After spending most of my life in the city, I finally understood why so many people enjoy places like this. On the way, my brother stopped by another neighbor's property. He's currently building a small homestay here. The buildings are designed in the style of traditional Vietnamese stilt
Cái này phải
houses.
còn lâu lắm mới xong đúng không mày?
You'll still find this type of architecture in many mountainous regions of Vietnam. They're simple, open, and blend naturally into the surrounding landscape.
Gươm bộ chống nước không Phan?
Có. Lạnh thấy kìa. Lạnh.
Nướng cái chỗ bờ hồ lại á, nướng gà xong rồi ngồi
Ở dưới đây hột đầu quá anh Khoa.
Đúng rồi. Xong mà nước ngầm ra mà.
There's even a small natural pond right below the houses. I could easily imagine sitting here in the evening, having dinner with friends, and enjoying a quiet night around a campfire. The owner told us he mainly built this place for business partners visiting from overseas. To be honest, Dak Nong isn't a major tourist destination, so he isn't expecting large numbers of visitors. It was finally time to head home, or so we thought. On the way back, we spotted a rambutan tree by the side of the road, so we asked the owner if we could pick a few. She smiled and told us to help ourselves.
Quả xanh ngon, quả chín chua.
Kỳ á.
Xanh ngọt chín chua. Hái quả xanh ăn thử rồi.
I don't think I needed to think twice. Up I went. Well, that was all the permission I needed, so I climbed up the tree and enjoyed some of the freshest rambutans I've ever had.
Ôi, trái chôm này đỏ nè.
Đỏ ăn hơi lạc lạc rồi, không ngon. Từ từ.
Không, mà giờ có hét đây thì ngon nhỉ.
Thúi rồi.
Được rồi. Chúng tôi
Để nó quay mấy cảnh cây.
I've always loved eating fruit right where it grows. Maybe it's just in my head, but somehow it always tastes better.
Bây giờ quay xuống review ớt rồi ăn thử trên tay ăn coi nào.
Ớt Việt Nam không cay.
In many countries, rambutans are something you buy. Here, we were picking them straight from the tree.
Không? Review ớt chín chĩa đâu.
They're sweet, juicy, and incredibly refreshing.
Rồi rồi.
cắn một cái, đưa cái thịt ra, cái. Cái đi. Rồi, đưa thịt ra, đưa thẳng cái tay ra luôn. Đó. Tao không thấy được tao, mày thấy được mày tự coi góc.
Mấy nhà đây ăn chum bệnh luôn.
Thôi, ta thèm ăn mà. Sao mày vô chứ mấy bữa gán chích mà.
Tôi đi bắt con cá, con kiến này đái nhau này. Ngồi nào có
Không.
bắt con kiến lại tôi đá chắc.
Phen ơi, hiểu rồi.
Đây. Ăn chùm luôn rồi.
Thấy bố chứ lít thằng túi.
Thấy mặt nó tự so góc chứ. Đưa thẳng tay ra.
Just look at these clusters. They're beautiful.
Tự coi góc. Rồi, xuống
Đó. Nè, cầm đây. Phen nghiêng cái cam quá.
Má tao không thấy góc đâu.
Đó, mày để như vậy thì đúng, hồi nãy mày để nghiêng quá.
Chạy đó tao không thấy.
Lạ không, lạ không?
Rồi, đi rồi.
Rồi, đi xem.
Xuống.
Còn về tối kỳ lưng á.
Này, cái này mới ngon này.
Mấy mình lấy nét kỳ.
Đừng lia cam nhanh quá. Thấy không? Hai đậu dầu không?
Mày coi câu kìa.
That was only my first day here, and somehow it already felt like I'd experienced so much. Tomorrow, I'd get to see another side of life in Dak Nong.